Alright, so if an older lady asks if you want to party in her basement, you should politely decline, because Ma, she may not have your best interests in mind. Octavia Spencer plays the title character, and she is a woman who allows a bunch of high school students to party in her basement. And all of that seems great at the beginning, but then she starts to just display some unhealthy tendencies and behaviors, and then things unravel from there. Now, even though I think the trailer showed way too much of the film and what's going on, it does still keep some surprises back, and it still does retain a lot of the creepiness and a lot of the tension. Octavia Spencer is great in this because she brings such a good level of creepiness to her character. And at times she gives these unsettling smiles where you know that something unpleasant is coming. I mean, it's kind of like how she smiled in The Help when she was going to make that pie. Ugh. Speaking of The Help too, I didn't realize this going into it, but Ma is directed by Tate Taylor, who also directed The Help with Octavia Spencer. That's kind of cool. All of the teen actors do a good job in their roles, and each of them plays, you know, a convincing part for what they have. Some of them are much more in the background, and some are definitely in the foreground. And the ones in the foreground, I mean, they take it. They take that lead, and they're strong in it. But you gotta question their decision-making abilities throughout the entire film, because I just don't think they make some smart decisions. Something cool was how Diana Silvers and Juliette Lewis just matched. I mean, they play mom and daughter, and they look alike. They have the same mannerisms, and even their voices have a similar tone and quality to them. And it just made it so much more convincing when they're on screen together, or even when they're not. I mean, I remember when I'm watching Diana Silver, I mean, I was like, wow, she really sounds like Juliette Lewis. And the way she's moving her mouth and just the way it was just kind of cool that they mimicked each other really well. Now, it's not to the level of like Nicolas Cage and John Travolta in Face Off. I mean, that was insane, and that's an awesome movie if you haven't seen that. But they, in this film, do a really good job. I didn't realize it, but Allison Janney, or is it Janie? Well, whatever. She's in this as well. Now, she plays a really small part, but she brings her that, you know, that dry, sarcastic, droll, just sarcasm or wit or whatever it is to her delivery. But she's kind of useless. I mean, her role is not really pivotal to anything in the story at all. And so I'm not sure why she was put in there. I'm not sure why her character is there. It's good to see her, but again, just kind of useless. It's a bit of a slow start, and there are a couple of lulls to the action and to the pace towards the middle of the film. And so you begin to feel the time just a little bit. But then towards the end, as it ramps up towards the climax, I mean, the film just gets crazy. For me personally, there is one thing that I wish wouldn't have been in the film. Now, in my family, when we saw it, we disagreed on this point, so that's okay, and you may also. But it was speaking to a part of a motivation. Now, I can't be anything but vague because it really does spoil it. But I would have preferred to not know something that I'm told and shown. And for me, it would have changed the entire outcome and the feel of the movie. Well, not necessarily the outcome, but at least the tone and the feel of it. But because it's in there, it's still not bad. But it does then remind me of another horror movie because they left this certain part in there. But I guess also when I think about it, had they cut it out and done it the way I'm thinking, then it becomes like another horror movie. So, whatever. Kind of useless either way. It doesn't really matter. For me personally, I wanted this piece cut out because I think it would have made it more just disturbing. Ma is thrilling, tense, and cringe-inducing. I mean, a lot of people in our theater were laughing out loud, and not because it was funny, but just because they didn't really know what else to do with the tension. It's billed as a horror and a thriller, and I think it sits way more in the thriller aspect than in the horror, even though it does contain some horror elements. So is it the scariest movie? No, not even close. But it is fun, and it has some good suspense and some good thrills to it. There is sex, nudity, profanity, and violence. I give Ma 3.5 out of 5 couches. Have you ever partied at a complete stranger's house? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.